press record and we'll do a new memo.
Really?
I think. There we go.
There it is.
I told you.
That's good.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah. Having not been abroad in over 2 years now. Craving the new, I guess. Certainly feeling that recently. The entire time that I've lived in Japan, I've always been able to get out at least once a year and just see something different. And then you come back and you're always like, oh, this is why I like Japan. And you remember those things because they aren't necessarily inherent in other cultures or environments around the world.
Wait.
Like
No. Give me a. Why is it that you like Japan, especially when you come back?
I mean, this is a cliche answer, but it's a valid one for sure, is the level of service. As soon as you go to a place like the United States and you see the way that people treat other people, it's exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting to go from here where you can go up and like someone and ask for help and expect a certain level of help in return. The like almost aggressive lack of service industry quality that exists in some other places. Another place that I very much loved traveling to, but after being there for a while, it was like, this is a tougher environment to be in, was Italy. Absolutely. Spent 2 weeks there and loved it. But, people will actively ignore you because they're like, yeah, what do you want? And I'm like, I understand this is not my culture. I understand. I'm in a different place. But you come back to Japan and as soon as you need something, you can have that accessible to you. And it's so immediate as soon as you step off the plane that I've always had. And this may not be a shared experience, but I always get off the plane and go like, I'm back, thank God.
Because you have that feeling of security that people will take care of you and try to help you, whatever your issue is.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. It's a nice environment to live in.
We're coming back to that, my rant from the other week when I said, I should have done more bad things when I was younger to toughen me up, because when I see a lot of people here going like, this is not how we want it to be. It's just because everything is so well organized and the level of service is so top tier that you don't have to do anything yourself. And that's one of the things that I kind of miss living in Japan, is the kind of, it's not my job, do it yourself. Who do you think I am? I'm not getting paid for that. I kind of like that, the kind of what you call cold or, ignore or what. I think people should be a little bit colder, ignore me a little bit more.
I don't know. Being more casual, sure, fine.
Yeah.
Taiwan, for example, a great place where people are like a lot more casual in their service, but they're still nice and helpful, generally speaking, in my experience.
Yeah. There needs to be a balance.
There needs to be a balance, yeah, and I think that balance is important. On the other hand, I feel like moving here and living here and appreciating the things that I do appreciate about it makes me realize why people like things like retirement homes and stuff like that. People like ease. And there's sometimes I just don't want to struggle, especially as somebody who didn't know the language when I first here.
That's the thing. I like the struggle.
You like the struggle. But bear in mind that
I want to struggle. I want to overcome the struggle, and I say I want to go to people. I did it myself. What are you doing?
But part of that is the toolbox of resources that you had accessible to you from the moment you got here was that you could converse with people. The first several years, I couldn't. So that was just, if people were being shitty to me because I went into their restaurant, that would just be one more thing that was like, this sucks. Whereas people were nice to me even when I couldn't necessarily communicate with them. And that was such a nice environment to live in the earlier years when I was here in Japan. And so I got very used to it. And then as soon as you learn to speak at least to a certain level of proficiency, then you can do what you do so well, which is like joke with people and take the conversation beyond just the immediate I want, I need, or and then as soon as you do that, it becomes enriched. And we are lucky enough to live in Osaka, which I've never lived anywhere else, so I don't know, but certainly the stereotypes abound about other places being a little bit colder, particularly Tokyo. And here, you can be quite casual with people when you establish some level of rapport, and that's nice.
Yeah. Again, I think you can be casual no matter where you go, no matter if it's Osaka or Tokyo, whatever.
Probably so. Again, I have no experience outside of Osaka.
I saw once again coffee in cars with
Getting
Jerry.
coffee.
Yeah,
getting,
yeah.
getting Jerry and coffee.
Yeah, getting Jerry, getting the tasty Jerry,
Mhm.
and it was a show. It was the episode with Julia, Elaine, and
Did I see that?
someone stopped them in the middle of the street, and he said, "Well, we're doing the Seinfeld reunion, and you're not in it. You know, so could you please move?" And they all started laughing, you know. And Julia's made a wonderful point where it says, "Yeah, well, you were able to be completely rude to that person because you're so
Mm.
charismatic."
I'm using Jerry
I
Seinfeld
like this.
as a bar. I mean, he sets that bar pretty high.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
like, you know, as a general rule, you can do that anywhere as
Mm.
long as you have that, you know, a little bit of a approach.
Of all the times that I need to point this out, I definitely would point it out in this kind of conversation, is that you are particularly adept at what you're talking about. Like, because you're so flirty, because when you exhibit confidence, you have like the most intense version of it, where you're willing to like push the boundaries of humor
Yeah.
and get people laughing in situations where they're not used to doing it. Like all of that's amazing. It's a life skill that everyone around you looks at you and goes, "I wish I could do that."
Only use them at the wrong time,
Well.
at the wrong audience.
Whether you're using it in the right context or not, you have that
But
accessible to you, and that's amazing.
pushing the limit, man. My two best friends back home, they have a thing about me with pushing limits. They often say, one of them says, "You always see the limit that you're not supposed to go over,
And
and
you,
then you go run through."
I would say that's pretty accurate.
That's. But let me tell you this:
Sort of.
it's a lonely life, Donnie. It's a lonely life. For those 99% of people, they're like, "You crossed the limit." Never get to talk to them again. So only that 1%, you included, is left.
I think
I don't mind that much.
these are very different things, I'm sure. Sorry, we're shooting a. Sorry. We're shooting a second part of our series, and they're not in it.
Wow, that was so charismatic.
Yeah.
The things about my previous job, my boss would have those kind of "what are you talking about" moments where he comes in, you know, talking about different cultures. First off, he starts me off. "Oh, you have a beer? Oh, this week as well." You know, like, "Yes, I do."
Yes.
"Oh, kakoi, it's looking pretty cool." And then, you know, goes into whatever comes to his mind.
That's cringy.
And then this time was, do you do baths or do you do showers? What's your thing?
Yeah. Can you use chopsticks? Can you speak
Yeah.
Japanese? Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't have time
The
for
same
baths.
conversation.
It's, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. I take a shower. It's, you know.
Plus, you and I both have baths that are like not really appropriate body sizes. Like if
Yeah.
I had to sit in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bathtub, I'd be like,
It's,
it's deeper than it is wide.
It's a matchbox, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a pleasant experience.
And I was like, yeah, but okay, showers, but how do you wash your back? It's like-
Wait, what? How do you answer that?
And I was like, wait, what? How do you answer that? And he was like, well, I mean, can you reach? And I did the, you know, I interlocked my hands. I was like, yeah, I can reach. And I was like, oh, you can reach. And that was the end of that.
Kokusai taki desu.
And that's when I knew I got to quit.
And you did. Oh, seeing you in those
Good riddance, man.
times, some almost 2 years ago, that like pre-quitting, mid-quitting, post-quitting was really cool to see. You went
It's
like
an
this
interesting-
emotionally, but
An interesting human experiment. Social experiment.
self-inflicted, but yeah, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, that just leads me straight into toxic relationships and
Toxic relation.
toxic relation. It was a toxic relation because when I
Good, you
was
recognize this, huh?
when I was quitting, I felt such a feeling of guilt that I was leaving.
I remember.
Yeah.
You grappled with that.
And I was like, oh man, I'm quitting these very, very bad people in so many aspects. Why do I feel the guilt?
You don't
And
like to let people do it.
after a couple of
Sure.
months, it was like, okay, this is pretty bad. It was just, and you know, after studying, you know, the book and all that.
The book?
Yeah.
book
All
of
the
relationships.
the attachment theory, and it's all that forgot what what they use it, the kind of the toxic loop, where you're kind of used to bad vibes, so being in that kind of environment gives you a sense of security or whatever. So you know it's not good for you, but you're
It's
used to it.
familiar.
Yeah, it's familiar. Apparently, it's a parents thing, but I know. It's a trauma response to your younger self.
Episode 2, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Ooh, talking about parents and how that affects the person you bring in.
No.
Yeah, that's a whole series.
Yeah. Are you cold?
I'm cold. Yes. And I'm over caffeinated from one drink. That's amazing.
You need to be going. Let me stop it here.
That's a good one. I like it.